Thank you, Josh. So the goal of Raptorthon really is just about having fun birding while raising money for raptor monitoring programs. So Rachel Spagnoli here in the picture, she was an educator at Hawk Mountain and she is doing just that. She was our featured Raptorthoner for a couple of years and a real cheerleader for Raptorthon. So if you are familiar with Birdathon, Raptorthon's very similar. So it's a sponsored bird count, and the aim is to count as many raptor species or all bird species that you want within a 24-hour period. So some teams like to just focus on raptors. I always try and count as many bird species as I can. I think it's a great excuse just to get out and do some a big day of spring birding. And you have this 24-hour period, but you can craft your own events. So you're welcome to spend all day getting up, before sunrise, looking for owls, make it an all-day thing, or you can just go out for a few hours. So it's really flexible in how you want to do it. So crafting your own event, there's a lot of flexibility. Choose one day between March and the end of May. You register at HMANA.org. You can register, just plan on doing it solo. You can do it with a team of people. With COVID, it might be a little difficult with groups this year, but you can, Hawkwatch or do your Raptorthon with your family. It's totally up to you. The next step is finding sponsors to pledge support for your event. So going out, talking to friends, colleagues, whoever you think would support your effort. Enjoy your actual day of birding on your Raptorthon. Then you're going to focus on collecting pledges or donations, submitting those to HMANA, reporting your results, whatever you see that day. We like to get just a few sentences from all the participating teams so we can put that in our journal. And then at the end of Raptorthon season, HMANA writes checks to local Hawkwatches. So that's really the gist of it there, and how that fundraising kind of breaks down. All the funds raised go to Raptor Migration monitoring, but you get to decide how you'd like that broken down. So there's three choices. You can choose to donate half of what you raise for your local Hawkwatch site and give the other half to HMANA programs. If you'd rather, secondly, you can donate 25% to another conservation organization. Like sometimes teams have wanted to donate to their local Audubon chapter or like a Raptor rehab center, and then 75% goes to HMANA. Or lastly, you can choose to just donate, raise money for HMANA, which is what I do every year. And when we say to HMANA programs, all those funds, all of it goes to funding things like Hawk Count, our Junior Hawk Watcher program, RPI, the Raptor Population Index, and then our grants. So it's all, every penny of it is going in some way or in one way or another to fund Raptor Migration and the sites. And so for everything that HMANA receives, 25% of that goes directly to our Hawkwatch fund. And that is our grant to support all the Hawkwatch sites, which I'll talk about in a couple slides. But basically Hawkwatch fund, all the funds we have to give away for that grant are the result of the previous year's Raptorthon. So we started in 2009, as I said. David Hussle and I kind of crafted this. This was also the first year I came on with HMANA, and things started a little slow. We raised $1,400 that year, and we've kind of experimented over the years, just trying to make it more competitive, to offer prizes. We've tried a few different things, and it's evolved. And really, I think we've settled on kind of a non-competitive event. We seem to think that works the best. And you can set certain goals for yourself, but it's not competing against other teams. But we've been able to build the event throughout the years, getting more participants. We're getting, as you can see, making more money. 2019, 2020, we did over $12,000, which is great. And in these 12 years, we've brought in over $77,000. That's money directly going to the watch sites, helping them run, hire counters, going to our grant for Hawkwatch sites, and then, you know, our programs like Hawk Count. So it's really been a big part of our fundraising initiatives. So that Hawkwatch Fund grant that we offer annually, it is open for all sites to apply, all sites that are part of the Hawk Count network. And we've awarded over 23 grants in the past 12 years, or since 2013, actually. And it's been a tremendous help to sites. This picture here on the left is Rockfish Gap. They were able to produce an interpretive sign. And the picture on the right here are some kids down in Veracruz, Mexico. They were one of our recipients last year. And they were able to purchase a bunch of binoculars for their education program. So these are annual grants, and we usually give between, I guess we have between $2,000 and $3,000 each year as a result of Raptorthon. And we'll be actually meeting, the Hawkwatch Fund Committee will be meeting this week to decide on which sites we can support this year, which is always really fun to do and hard at the same time, because we get so many proposals and we just want to fund every single one of them. So we're just always trying to think of ways to build this program so we can continue to just offer more grant funding for all these sites. Here's a few more Hawkwatch Fund recipient projects. The Mendota Fire Tower produced this great display up on the top left. And down below it, there's a crew from Belize. These are trainees. They were recipients many years ago to start their cattle landing Hawkwatch down there. And Bob Pettit on the right is showing off his brand new Holiday Beach banner. So really, these grants have enabled sites to produce some great things. This slide is just a picture throughout the years of our family and all our Raptorthons. I've been doing it since 2009, since before all these little guys came along, but it's become a really fun spring annual tradition for our kids. And you know, they're 6 and 8 now, and they're still really into birding, which I'm excited about. But it's been a big part of our spring ever since they were teeny tiny. And as I mentioned, it's not just about raptors. Despite the Raptorthon name, you can craft it however you like. And we just love heading out, having a full day of birding, seeing which, you know, all the new species that have come back, whatever mammals we can find. It's a lot of fun. So there's lots of different ways you can conduct your Raptorthon. You can just count from a Hawkwatch if you're a spring site that's already going to be up on the platform or up on top of your mountain counting anyway. This is a great spring fundraiser opportunity for you. This is Braddock Bay here on the left. This was one of our HMANA ID workshops in Braddock Bay, New York, many years ago. And so they made one of their days a big Raptorthon fundraiser. And Hawk Ridge to the right of that, their West Skyline Spring Count, they take part in Raptorthon every year to raise money for that Hawkwatch. And then up in the right corner is just me at the Pilgrim Heights down on Cape Cod, spending a Raptorthon out there with Don Manchester, where I spent the day counting a lot of harriers. So you can just go to your local Hawkwatch, find your own spot. If you're really ambitious like this guy, Josh, you can do a Raptorthon by bike. something that he's been really successful at, finding a lot of birds, raising a lot of money, and he's done a great job promoting it with all his beautiful graphics and using social media. I highly recommend birding events by bike because you just hear and see so much. I got to do another one soon. A Raptorthon road trip is another idea. This picture on the left was a road trip we took from New Hampshire to Maryland for Easter one year, and we just turned it into a Raptorthon. So it was a great opportunity to count 1 million red tails along the way and just stop at some of our favorite birding locations. World Migratory Bird Day this year falls on May 8th. This is a Environment for the Americas runs this event every year. And what better way to, have a Raptorthon but on World Migratory Bird Day, when you can actually partner with these guys. This is at Pondicherry National Wildlife Refuge, where there's a big bird walk on this day every year. So we've done our Raptorthon a few times on this day, and it has just been a great way to reach out to the 50 or more people that were on that bird walk and spread the word about, HMANA and what Raptorthon's all about. So participating in a big sit is another way you can do your Raptorthon. This is a picture from the Cape May Hawkwatch. Talk about a great place for bird diversity. You can, if you're not familiar with the big sit, it's Birdwatchers Digest, their international event where you basically have like a 17-foot radius that you stay in and count from. So not quite as cool as the Cape May Hawkwatch is the picture to the right, which is our backyard. Me and a stuffed chicken counting not quite as many species as Cape May, but the bucket in the background is for my 6-year-old, since he wanted to dunk his head in cold water for every raptor species he found. So big sits are a lot of fun, especially with COVID. If you're not feeling comfortable about traveling or going to a Hawkwatch, you can always see birds in your yard, no matter where you are. Here's my son trying to find a puffin on an inland lake in New Hampshire, determined to see one. Raptorthon's just one of the greatest ways we have to just connect young people with nature. We have our Junior Hawkwatch program, which is wonderful, but Raptorthon is right up there, I feel like, as one of HMANA's best tools to reach younger people, get them engaged in birding and hawkwatching, reaching out to science clubs or birding clubs. Brian Wargo on the left here, this is his team, the Eaglets, and they raise money for the Allegheny Front Hawkwatch every fall, or every spring rather, for their Raptorthon. And this group of women, they are part of his Freedom Area High School Naturalist Club, and they're also recipients, a past recipient from the Hawkwatch Fund grant. So there's lots of ways to engage young people. Vic Laubach here on the right, he'll talk in a few minutes about his experience with his Raptorthon and how he engages so many young people at his site. And reaching potential sponsors sometimes can seem a little daunting, I think, to people. I'm not really good at asking for money. I've always felt uncomfortable with that, but I feel like with Raptorthon, it makes it very easy. I'm passionate about raptor migration and birds, and I reach out to friends and colleagues and family. Usually I do an email blast before my event. I let people know what we're trying to raise money for, make it easy for them, give them a link to the HMANA webpage, because when you register your team, you can get, we'll set you up on our website so that people can donate directly to your event, not just HMANA. So you can lead them right to the right place. You can give them a pledge coupon here on the right. You can see how people can donate a flat amount, or they can say, we'll give you $10 for every raptor species you see. Social media is a great tool. You can post before your event, during your event, live videos even, however you want to use that. And I usually, in person, talking to birders and hawk watchers the day of your event can really work. So there's a lot of resources on our website at HMANA.org. You can find this document, how to find sponsors. There's frequently asked questions. You can download this sponsor list, which is great to keep track of all your sponsors, who's given and if they owe you money and how much they pledged. And you can send this to HMANA at the end so that we can thank all your donors as well. And then after your event, I like to write a little summary. Not all teams do this, you don't have to, but I think it's a fun way to say thank you to all your donors. I write out kind of a 2-page summary, what we saw, what were the highlights, and you know, thank people for donating. So I think that's kind of the gist of it. I think I will let Rich jump in now. Rich Conroy, who I should say is a superstar fundraiser Raptorthoner. He is one of the coordinators at Militia Hill Hawkwatch in Pennsylvania and has been doing this for many, many years. So take it away, Rich, if you want to say a few words.
Sure. Thanks, Julie. Julie, and thank you for everything you guys do. You do for HMANA. Raptorthon has been near and dear to my heart since you started it. So, and you mentioned David Hustle. Thank you for doing that. I know Raptorthon was something that he was passionate about for us as well. Okay, so my name is Rich. I'm most related to the Militia Hill Hawkwatch. I currently serve on the HMANA board, and this time around I'm actually the chair for this year. I've been involved with HMANA since on the board from about 2011, and I'll link that to Raptorthon in a way, because Raptorthon was really my way initially of getting myself more involved with how to actively help HMANA. You know, I knew I wanted to, and I joined the board, but you know, in your first year with any kind of experience like that, it's always hard to find what you know, hooks you to continue to help and what you're successful with. And Raptorthon for me was really a way to find my feet in terms of helping the organization. Militia Hill is a fall-only Hawkwatch site. We just finished our 33rd season, so we started in 1988. I became involved as the coordinator of the co-coordinator in 2008 when our founder retired after 20 years of actively promoting the site and doing all of the what it takes to run a Hawkwatch site. We find that doing our Raptorthon in the spring is a really, really good way to stay in touch with people that are involved with us in the fall. It's about halfway through, and it's a way to make contact with them and keep them involved in hawk watching. And in a lot of cases, folks that are, you know, you think about it, we're so involved with fall hawk watching. It's good to remember that they migrate back as well through the spring. And I think sometimes that's something that you lose sight of, and it's a good thing to make sure people are aware of. In our particular location in Southeast Pennsylvania, the migration is a little more diffuse, so we don't count in the spring. It's not as concentrated as it would be in the fall, but you still have some really good days where you can see some birds coming through and heading north. So to get back to Raptorthon, as I said, it was when I started, my first one I think was, I appear to have done one in 2013, but it must have been a test run because I don't think I solicited any donations. And to Julie's point, it was it didn't come naturally to be able to ask people to support and to give money at first. But the more that I've become involved in HMANA and seeing all the good works that we do and that we can potentially expand on, it did become a little bit easier to ask the Militia Hill community to help support. One of the other things that we do for Militia Hill, and that's a picture of our Hawkwatch deck there, it's the only fundraiser for Militia Hill. We're an all-volunteer Hawkwatch, so we really don't have, we don't pay a counter, so our costs are kind of low. But one of the things that we do handle, and you can tell in the bottom left of that, well, you can't see it, but in the bottom left of that picture, we maintain a bird feeding station there. We are in a state park. We're in Fort Washington State Park in Pennsylvania, but we maintain a bird feeding station. So we provide all the seed, all the feeders, things of that nature. And we've been doing that for probably since the existence of the Hawkwatch. So one of the things that we're able to do with the Raptorthon funds that we raise for our Hawkwatch is to maintain that year round. And it's a destination for folks in our park. People come to that deck to look at the bird feeding station. They bring their kids. Our Hawkwatch actually takes place on the higher deck, which was, well, it started out on the small deck and it transferred to the higher deck when the state was able to build that for us. We're pretty much a co-partner with the state parks there, and we're kind of a destination for them. So it's a year-round thing there. So that's good. So back to Raptorthon. One of the things that Raptorthon also helped me do is, you know, when I started hawk watching, I saw it as an individual point. You know, I was watching hawks over my head in Southeast Pennsylvania. HMANA is such a unique organization in that it brings all of the network together of Hawkwatch sites, and it really just opens your mind to the picture of what migration is for birds, and for these birds in particular. So I was able to start with my Raptorthon. I did it year in, and as I said, it was really good to be able to touch base with folks who were able to come out in the spring. One of the things, if you can see looking at the donations, what really picked up was being able to do an appeal letter, which I did in 2016. I sent it out to the Militia Hill community and friends of the Hawkwatch, and as Julie said, colleagues, friends, family, and that really helped pick up a lot of donors. My donor base, as you see, is pretty stable since 2016. It varies a few people, but the core of the people that donate are probably in the high 30s. And then every year, you know, you have someone different, and then maybe you have someone who possibly drops off for a year. The other really big thing that helped with our donations was in 2018, HMANA produces a publication called Hawk Migration Studies, where they highlight the Hawkwatch Fund recipients, and I was able to take what's in the publication and add that to my appeal letter, and it really saw a jump in the donations. I think what it helps when you're talking to folks and asking them to be kind enough to donate to something, it gives them a sense of the reach of what their donation can be. You know, they want to support Militia Hill, and we'll talk about that in a minute with a good friend of mine who helps support our Raptorthon and Militia Hill. But I think one of the things that really, for folks who are inclined to come to Hawkwatch sites and to watch migration, giving that reach of the Hawkwatch Fund really seemed to strike a chord with my friends and the folks around here that participate in Militia Hill, and as you can see, our donations went up from there. And you know, as Julie said, I have goals that I set, and I'm hoping to exceed. We've exceeded every year, and I would like to keep that train going. And another thing, as Julie said, if you want to just forward the slide, Julie, we do keep track of the number of migrants. Most of our donors just give a specific amount. We don't have many who do it by species, but it is something that I keep track of, and then I do it after report for the folks and send out what went on with our Raptorthon that year. Usually what I do is I give them the report when I'm asking the next year's appeal letter. I give them a synopsis and I let them know what went on there. So then you look at some of the totals, you know, based on the time you pick. I've usually been in April. There's probably times with more heavy migration in southeastern Pennsylvania, but it always works out to do it here. And as I said, it doesn't affect the vast majority of the folks donating to the event. Let's see what else. As I mentioned, most of the stuff. Be in touch. Yeah, I think that's gonna sum up what I would talk about in terms of Militia Hill. It's just a great event. It really has been the event that has given me the ability to be more involved with HMANA, to give more of my time to help support the organization. And I would just suggest for anybody who's thinking about doing it, just do it, you know, because then the more years you do it, now it's like a no-brainer for me. So there you go. And at this point, if it would be okay, I would just, a friend of our Hawkwatch, the president of our local Audubon Society, Militia Hill does sit under our local Audubon Society, which is Wyncote Audubon, as a component of Wyncote Audubon. And I would just introduce Mr. Lee Altadonna, who has been a supporter of our Raptorthon, to just say a few words why he supports Militia Hill and HMANA's Raptorthon.
Hey, thank you, Rich, and I'm very pleased to be able to just say a few words of support for what goes on at Militia Hill and the chapter's involvement with support of Raptorthon and my personal involvement. Let me just repeat that I am president of the Wingcoat Audubon Society. It's a chapter with just a little over 2,000 members and friends. We cover Northeast Philadelphia, portions of North Philadelphia, and Northwest Philadelphia, and then significant portions of Montgomery County, all in Southeast PA. And we have been a source of volunteers and a source of support for Militia Hill since it started. And you know, what has happened now is that in our annual budget, we include Raptorthon as a component of our national budget. So that's plugged in as an amount that we will give every year to Raptorthon. I give personally because the Hawkwatch has been such an important part of Wingcoat's programming. One of the great things that we're able to do in partnership with Rich and the other volunteers is we have a pretty strong outreach with school kids with something called Audubon Adventures, and we're able to get kids to the Hawkwatch in the fall to talk a little bit about raptors, raptor migration. We do some things in school, but what's really great is when schools can take a field trip to the Hawkwatch, and we bring our volunteers in, and Rich has been faithful to be up on the upper platform. We break the school class into groups. Some get to see the feeders that at the feeding station Rich talked about. Sometimes we have live raptors with a person that comes with a peregrine and a Harris hawk, I believe. And we also teach kids how to use binoculars and do some other kinds of things related to the school groups. Some school groups have come year for year from Philadelphia, from other locations and other schools in the region. So we see it as a valuable asset for our programs in education as a chapter. And then, just the other kinds of outreach. Fort Washington State Park is a heavily used park. Certainly in the shadow of COVID, we have found people really coming to get into the outdoors. I think that's an experience not just at Fort Washington, but in open spaces all over the region. There are a lot of people that are making these kinds of visits, and the Hawkwatch is a stop. It's a little difficult with COVID because you can only fit so many people on the platform. It'll be great when we can go back and do that kind of incidental education about the Hawkwatch, about the birds. There's generally several volunteers in addition to the counter. And this past year, Rich and Andy and some of the others have begun to tutor me in terms of Hawk ID. And I'm actually becoming more proficient in separating at distance a Cooper's hawk from a sharp-shinned hawk. So I think a couple more years, I'll be ready to be a counter. So again, we really appreciate it. We support Raptorthon. We're members of HMANA. I'm members of HMANA. The chapter is as well. And we really support the citizen science piece, the community science piece that goes with this. We think this kind of data, in this case with raptors, is very important to keep educationally and also as a record of what's going on with our population of hawk species. So that's my 2 cents. And anybody on the call that's considering donating to Raptorthon, I heartily endorse it.
Wow, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you
Thanks, Lee.
so much. Do you have anything else to say, Rich?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Julie.
No? Okay, wow. Well, thank you so much, Lee. I think that was a beautiful summary of, why you give and the importance of supporting raptor monitoring research. So important to have education too. We need the next generation of hawk watchers. We need to engage these kids with nature so we can keep monitoring these important species. I really appreciate your support of HMANA and Raptorthon all these years. So that was just great. I think next we'll end speaking with Vic Laubach, who is a site coordinator at the Rockfish Gap Hawkwatch in Virginia. And he's also on our HMANA board. So whenever you're ready, take it away.
Great, thanks, Julie. Hi, everyone. It's glad to be here. I'm glad, nice to see so many people. Like Julie said, my local Hawkwatch is the Rockfish Gap Hawkwatch. This is a view of our Hawkwatch in the fall, and that ridge you see there is where pretty much most of our raptors fly over. And here's where we're located. Here where the red star is. Looks like there's a delay in my button. Sorry for that. We're located here near Waynesboro, Virginia. There is a Hawkwatch site north of us called Snickers Gap, and then there's one south of us, Harvey's Knob, and then there's Mendota Fire Tower way down in southwest. And then we have an Eastern Shore Hawkwatch, Kipta Peak, which gets such a different variety than us. But we get the birds that come down through the Blue Ridge Mountains, this little mountain range here. And we're one of the things that people come to our site for are the broadwing kettles. During the third week of September, we on a good day we can see up to 10,000 broadwing hawks. And this is a little group flying over right there. But we have a nice following of people that come from even out of state. We have this one couple who's come to our Hawkwatch from Chicago for the last 6 years, and they stay the whole week and sit out there with us and count hawks. But what we use Raptorthon to obviously to support HMANA and to help support our local volunteer group. Here's an example, or here's a photo just taken this past season from someone who brought their drone. So we're all kind of distanced there doing our Hawkwatch during the COVID crisis. Over here on the left is Baxter, and Gabriel was here. They're two of our young Hawkwatchers. And then the rest of us over here are I guess we're the senior half. And so we're fun. We're a fun group, and we have fun when we do our Raptorthon. We have a couple of local bird clubs which help support our Hawkwatch, and we pull from them to get people to come up and help out and volunteer. We have the 3 surrounding counties have their own bird club: Augusta, Piedmont Bird Club, and Rockingham Bird Club. And then we recently, in the last 6 or 7 years, a group of young birders started their own club called the Blue Ridge Young Birders Club. And this was started by Gabriel. Here's Gabriel right here. He was about 14 years old, but he's one of our head counters. Here he is a couple of years ago, growing like a weed. And Baxter is one of our main counters. He was a member of the club, of the Young Birders Club. And we have even younger ones that are hopefully will be growing into becoming Hawkwatchers, shown here with our group. So we get them involved in Hawkwatching and the Raptorthon. So we started our Raptorthons. Our first out of 8 was in 2013. We're a competitive bunch here, especially the young birders. They love numbers and they love chasing birds. So we pick a territory and we just hop in our car and we just cover it as much as possible. That's how we do our Raptorthon. And we try, it's a competition, and we seek out as many as possible, raptors or non-raptors. So this first year we were out from 9 to 5 p.m. We had 90 species, 8 were raptors, and we got $600 that first year. So I think we were off to a good start. We found a nice bald eagle nest with 3 young ones right there. So that was a lot of fun. And then the next year in 2014, we headed west out here to the border of West Virginia and Highland County. And we had a blast. It was beautiful. Gabriel was there hanging. He spent most of his day hanging his head out the window, seeking everything we could find. And he spotted this red-faced screech owl in one of the trees we were just driving by. It was just amazing. And I like to take pictures, so I'm going to kind of show off a lot of our interesting sightings. But each of these is an adventure, and we really make it fun. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we have different team members. Here was me, Gabriel, and Brenda. Brenda was the previous coordinator of our Hawkwatch before I took over 6 years ago. And 2015 was a low year, but we didn't have much participation that year. I wasn't able to do it, but Brenda, Gabriel, and Penny went out and for a little while and raised a little bit. But we were back on track in 2016, and we stayed local in our own county, and we were out all day, 130 miles, and got 106 species, 11 raptor species. Here's one of the views from our mountain, looking out over the valley. And then in 2017, I and Gabriel and Baxter were a trio, and we took over both our county and the Rockingham County, seeking out as many birds as possible. We had 96 that day, 7 raptors, and we found this really rare, long-billed dowitcher, one of the last birds of the day. That was really awesome. Then 2018 came. This was an epic day. We will forever remember this day. And one of the best things about the Raptorthon is that they make memories. We remember all of our years, and we gather and we make networks and strengthen our team that way, and bring in more people. And here we spent 16 hours, 300 miles, and we ended up with 122 species, 9 raptors, including a very rare Mississippi kite for us. I don't remember us ever seeing one in the spring. And we happened to catch one in the afternoon that day. But you never know what we'll see. We found this little brown bat hanging out on this branch, just watching us as we walk by. And over here, we found a barn owl who was being chased by a barn swallow, and they came out of a barn. Isn't that amazing? And here is the final picture of the day, where we ended up with a barred owl and some woodcocks doing their spring display that evening. So that was a very epic day, and we raised over $1,000 that day. In 2019, we had another great year. We stayed local, and we were up at sunrise in this swamp here, where I have witnessed for the first time a Wilson snipe doing their spring courtship display in the air. And I didn't know their wings whistled like they did, and it was just amazing. We started off with the first bird being in the dark with not a Chuck Will's widow, I'm drawing a blank.
Whippoorwill?
What is that?
Whippoorwill?
Whippoorwill, yep. And then sometime during the day, we found under a silo, we found a graveyard from a barn owl, and he's probably been living there for several years. And look at all this bones. That's exactly how we saw it when we walked up there. It was really cool.
Wow.
And then last year we didn't know what to do. So someone had the idea, being as competitive as we are, and we all like to do what we call a big day, big spring day, and to try and see the most number of birds in one day. So we decided to each take our own territory and do our own birding in our own vehicles. I took Highland County out to the west. Gabriel took Augusta County. Ezra took his home county of Nelson, and Baxter took his home county of Albemarle. And at the end of the day, we tallied everything up, and turned out Gabriel won the total species with 136. And everyone, both Baxter, Ezra, and Gabriel, had their best big day, spring big day. And I had my second highest day out in Highland County. I don't know, I didn't add up how many miles we covered. There's 2, 4, 6, 800, at least 800 miles were we covered. And it was a great success. We might even do that again, even if COVID is lifted. We don't know. But I just wanted to hopefully show you how we do our Raptorthon and how we have fun doing it. Here's a few pictures from that particular day. This is a picture from Highland County. It's beautiful over there. I love going over there every chance I can get. There's a lot of bald eagles over there, golden eagles and rough-legged hawks. So over the 8 years, we've had 3 team members under 21, 4 over 50. So we really mix it up with different generations. Over 6,000 total we've raised. Half of it we give to HMANA. The other half we use to support our Hawkwatch. A lot of it pays for our website, our domain registration, some equipment we need like our weather stations, things like that, to keep us going every year. We've had a total of 98 donors. We averaged 27 per year with a $34 average donation. And I try to make our team diverse so that each person has their own kind of people that don't maybe not overlap with the rest of us, so we can reach and try and get pledges from as many people as possible. So HMANA is a good source. They have their everything is done online through HMANA, which makes it so easy. It's nice to tell the donors, here's the website, and with 3 clicks you can make a donation. It's really, everyone takes advantage of that. And of course, Facebook, sending out email lists to everyone we know is nice. And all these people get a return email after our Raptorthon, giving them the results of our day and trying to highlight everything we've done, trying to work for our money. And then of course the local bird clubs. We are really grateful to our 3 local bird clubs and for the support they give us. And that's the end, Julie.
Wow, thank you so much, Vic. That was great. I love how you outline just all your years. It's fun seeing how your Raptorthon has evolved, and I like how you say it's not all about fundraising, and that you're making these memories, that every year is this new adventure. That's how I feel. It's really fun. And I like how you've used this kind of competition to engage your young people. We don't have that edge in our Raptorthons, but that's a great way to engage young birds.
They keep me hopping. They keep me hopping. Yep.
Yep. Well, those are some impressive big days. I'm impressed with what you guys have seen. So that's kind of a snapshot of Raptorthon and how you can get involved. You can see the link here, HMANA.org or HMANA.org Raptorthon. You can register easily if you're interested in taking part or you have a team in mind. We welcome you to give it a shot. And again, it's not all about fundraising. Those couple of years when you raised $75, Vic, it's all going to such a great cause, and it's just a fun event to be part of. So even if you don't want to do your own Raptorthon, you can certainly support Raptorthoners. There's already a number of teams listed on our website. If you check it out, you can support any of the teams. I think Rich and Josh and myself are up there already, along with a couple of others. Teams are still planning their details, some other teams like Vic's team. But they'll all be up on the website in the next few weeks, and we'd love your support. So we hope you're excited to get involved this spring.
Okay, thank you so much, Julie, Rich, Lee, and Vic as well for everything that you provided. We do have a few questions, Julie, one of which I think Vic just answered, but I'll reiterate it just in case. There was a question about making donations and whether they can be done on the website or via check. Maybe you could just give a little bit more detail on how that process works.
Sure. Yeah, you can go on to HMANA.org and support whichever team you wish to directly, or you can send HMANA a check, make a check out to HMANA. You could send it to our address, which is Jane's address. You can send it to my address, which is listed on the pledge coupon. There's a number of ways to get it to HMANA. So you can give cash to your Raptorthoner, and they can write a check to HMANA. So there's a number of ways, whether it's online or check. Lots of
jump in super quickly on those, on the heels of that. Just to note that this year we will be also making it available to give by text. So when you're out and about doing your Raptorthon or counting or supporting your team, you can do it right there from your cell phone. So we'll make that readily and easily available for you as well.
Great. That's right. Thank you, Jane. I forgot about that.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so if I choose to support a Hawkwatch with the 50% of the funds brought in, how do I make that process work? Do I have to provide them the money? Does HMANA take care of that for me? Can you give a little bit of details on that?
Sure. Yeah, HMANA takes care of all that for you. So you decide how much you'd like to donate, and you make that donation to HMANA's website or by check. All those funds will go to us by the end of the Raptorthon season, and then we will write a check for all those individual Hawkwatch sites. So we figure out how that all works out, and you can just donate one amount.
Okay. Okay, another question. We had a couple questions regarding whether or not people can participate if there's not a group at their Hawkwatch site. So do you have to be affiliated with a Hawkwatch site to participate, would be the first question.
Right. No, you don't. So you can make this whatever you want it to be. So it could be just you in your yard. It could be you at a Hawkwatch, totally separate from that Hawkwatch. It could be you and your family out in the field for the day, anywhere you want to go. So it doesn't even have to be at a Hawkwatch site. It can be however many people you'd like, anywhere you'd like. And actually, we have some people who are raptor enthusiasts, but they don't really have a home Hawkwatch site. They raise money for sites like Veracruz, sites they hope to get to one day that isn't even their local site. So you can designate 50% for any Hawkwatch you want to.
I would also add that the 3 Raptorthons I've done, the first 2, I donated 50% to different Hawkwatch sites. And then last year, because of COVID and the struggles that HMANA was under, I chose to donate all of my proceeds to HMANA and the general fund, just to better help out the organization. So you do have that choice as well.
Right. And if you, I was just going to say, if you do choose to support HMANA with 100% of the Raptorthon funds, 25% of everything that HMANA brings in goes to the Hawkwatch Fund. Those are that's direct grant money for the network of sites. So with any donation, it's supporting this network of monitoring sites, which is great.
So Julie, we've seen, and we focused more on some Eastern examples of Raptorthons, but can you elaborate on if there are any limits in terms of geography? Can anyone from even outside of North America participate?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, we've had Raptorthon in Mexico before. We've had several out in the Rockies and in California. Most of our birders and hawkwatchers are in the East, so we see most of our Raptorthon teams somewhere on the East Coast and around the Great Lakes. It's very popular, but absolutely, you can do it in Europe. Do it in, go take a trip to Central or South America for your Raptorthon. That would be wonderful. No limits.
No limits. That's great. Okay, Julie, our last question, it's more of a request, and it might be specifically to Rich, but I'll include you as well. A couple of folks were interested in maybe getting a copy of one of your appeal letters to use as an example, not only for their own Raptorthons, but maybe other endeavors they have where they're trying to raise money, just as that opening. Is that something that we could make available?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Rich does a great job on his letter. We actually have a sample letter, and I want to make sure it's up on our HMANA website. If it isn't included in our Raptorthon forms online, I'll make sure I get it up there today, but we do have a sample letter, and that's very helpful. Do you have anything to add, Rich? You're muted.
Oh. I'm not sure we're gonna get him back.
how's that?
There we go.
Just for ease there, how about, Julie, I'll provide some copies of letters I've sent and you can post them to the website. Is that an easier way to do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll do
Sure.
that. I'll get
Yep.
those to you so that they'll be up there. So for anybody who's looking for that, just go to the HMANA site and they'll be there.
Okay. Thanks, Rich.
Great.
Great.
Thank you so much, Rich.